are you today?
All right, Tony.
Welcome.
We should shake hands.
So Sunday shopping is still a big issue even in Toronto.
I guess.
The Star.com had a few letters in it. Actually, it's about statutory holidays and Sunday shopping come up.
Okay.
And I'll read you part of it. It's a pretty long letter, but I do have it in one of my articles in SaveOurSundays.ca.
Okay.
Then came Sunday, Margaret speaks, she says, then came Sunday shopping in tourist areas. Amazing what became a tourist area. But not to worry, we miners were told no one would be forced to work Sundays. A religious days for some of us, the government would protect us. While we were told by phone, as they would not put it in writing by our head office, that if we refused to work on Sundays, we might as well start looking for a new job. So I left a job I loved, and I started working in offices where most holiday shoppers work Monday to Friday. If I had taken it to the labor board, who would they believe, my employer or me? The employer who said all of a sudden I wasn't a good worker anymore, the employee who refused to work Sundays. Sad, isn't it?
It is sad. I actually did read that. I must have taken time to read that one.
But no one's forced to work on Sunday.
Well,
are they kidding?
Officially, no one's forced to work on Sunday, I'm sure. But forced is probably not the word that they would use. They would say they're urged to work on Sunday, or they would say it just happens to be a fact of the job.
Kind of poking you in the back, right?
Yeah. They don't want to have to say, Tony, you have to work, because that's illegal.
Oh, it's against the law.
Of course it is. Of course it is. And I wasn't an employer. I managed employees for many years, and telling them they have to work on Sunday, you can hire people on that basis, or you can tell existing employees, you can urge them very strongly, what it is. But when you're hiring people now, people being hired in theory have a choice, but they really don't. Come on.
But people really, they
don't have the choice.
They really don't understand. Well, Star.com, they had several letters in, and they're trying to get stores open on Christmas.
Because people desperately need.
People are going to starve to death without buying a can of corn. Can you imagine?
Well, there might be people who will starve without a can of corn, but opening up your shop on a Sunday to sell it to them is not how you're going to keep from starving anyways, because they're going to starve for the lack of the can of corn. Then they can't afford to buy it when you open your store, because that can of corn not only costs more than they can afford, but if you're specially open on Christmas Day, then that can of corn costs more, even if you say you're going to charge the same price. But I was in retail managing in retail when they chose to go the 7 Sundays, even though we as a business had chose not to for a long time. And when we opened on the Sundays, guess what? After a while of opening, and we could track it before and we could track it after, and I'm not talking for months, I'm talking for years, then guess what? Sales didn't change. Expenses went up. And you start adding into that Christmas and foolishness like that, and like desperately. What do I really desperately need? Maybe you need a frame for that photograph. It's life and death. Gotta buy it on Christmas.
Even the S side just admitted here lately that there's no extra money in shopping on Sunday. It was just for the convenience.
Oh, of course not.
And we've been telling this to the public all along before the plebiscite.
How smart are people? I'm smart enough to figure out, and after looking at our books the same way.
Did you ever hear
the expenses went up and the revenue didn't? Now, what does that mean?
Did you ever hear conquer and divide?
Oh, sure.
I really got to hand it to big business, because little by little, they brought Sunday shopping in. It was 400,000 square feet. And then they'd move up little by little that people would notice that kind of thing. And I believe in Ontario they did it like tourists a sort of tourist
Oh, I don't know
designation.
if there's-
To get people in the habit of it, you know, to really like Sunday shopping. That's how they brought it in.
I'm not
This is-
sure who I would lay at the blame of it, and I'll listen in a sec, but I'm not sure who I'd lay at blame at it for doing it, but partly the blame of it is that people are so greedy if they thought, if I can do this, I can make extra money. And big businesses make money, but so do small businesses and all kinds of businesses, so I'm not sure who I could say was at the heart of all of this. But right now, certainly the big people who have the possibility of making the most money, of course, are driving the wheel pretty hard too. Here.
Big business and government.
Well, the government, where they see money and they see influence too. So.
Whatever business wants, I think the government might do a little bit. A little nudge. Hey, I'll give you a few bucks if you open stores up on Sunday.
Whoops. Anyways, what were you going to read to me?
This was another letter. It was from Marta O'Brien in Toronto. She says, "Why are only office workers entitled to work holidays? Why are only office workers entitled to work holidays?"
Maybe she means not to work holidays.
That must be, but that was in the paper. Following the logic of those promoting 365-year retail, then we should be able to consult a dentist, a bank manager, a city councilor, accountant every day of the year, and all of those folks have much higher salaries than retail workers.
So what they're saying then is maybe we should
get other people
If
to work.
retail is 365 days a week, then maybe office should be 365 days a week. 365 days a year, then maybe offices should be 365 days
But
a
see,
year.
to me, I understand where she's coming from.
Oh, I
But
understand.
in the years I've been fighting for this, I'm not fighting to promote everything being open. I like to see everything closed for common day and for holidays and for staff.
Sure.
And big business just loves this. Well, if we're trying to get everything open, because you know, we're all playing into their hands. If look at banks, for example.
Well, sure, and once again here, like, don't want to comment on decisions they're making, but this is what they're leading to, and that doesn't help anybody. You notice when they, you know, just an old gripe, but it's the same idea. If you give us bank machines, then we won't have to charge you fees, because you don't come in and use our tellers, and you'll have quicker updates. It'll be all to your advantage. And eventually they had to charge you fees because you did your banking on a machine. And well, they did it with gasoline too, because
Exactly.
they put in the lead and they charge you to put it in, then they charge you to take it out.
You notice they do this stuff little by little.
Come on. Well, of
Just
course.
that people
of
don't
course.
notice that. It's like, you know, it's like with Sunday shopping, and the next thing you see on TV, oh, the banks are opening up. But I remember before the plebiscite going into my bank, and there were two ladies talking.
Yeah.
One lady thought it would be fantastic to have the doors open on
Are
Sunday.
you kidding?
No. And then the other lady looked at her, the other cat, the teller, and she said, I think these families deserve time together. You wouldn't want to work, would you? She didn't answer her. And she asked her several times.
Of course not.
And now the banks are opening up on Sunday.
That's right. You know, like, our Charter of Rights isn't something about forcing other people to be open so we have the right to shop. Like, that's not what they're meant for at all. And people have got this way wrong out of perspective in what they're doing. Because really, nobody really wants to work on the Sundays.
No, nobody wants to work.
Sure, and the plebiscite did prove that too, in the sense that really the people don't want to, and for, anyways. Yeah,
And the
it's
majority
just-
of them, I can bet, were retail workers that did get out and vote.
There certainly are a lot of people who work in retail who find it unnecessary. There are lots of other ways to extend hours or see what the need is for that. But if people, as long as they think that they're going to make money at this, but that it's all counterproductive, and then in the end you'll be legislated that you have to work. because it'll work the other way.
This is what they're probably doing, like even little by little,
Well,
bringing holidays
as it
in
moves,
and
yeah.
tourist areas to get people used to it.
And what's
And-
the real advantage of this to everybody?
And what are we giving up?
Yeah, what are we giving up? We are giving up. Can't even believe we're giving up. Family
And people
really at
don't
one
see
time
it.
was the fabric of society, and I know we have blended families, but it's still, without that, what are we looking for? And other people have tried to take out common rest days and whatever and everything, and we even know we're smart enough as legislators, like I did a lot of camping stuff, we legislate rest time for camps. Because you have to, if you're a registered camp, because you have to have rest time for people.
Well,
like they haven't figured this out.
it's like
yet.
a balance.
Machinery, like
It's like a balance in
cars,
life.
everything, yeah, like rhythm.
Well, can you imagine our province doing without a minimum wage?
Oh, well, I know why they would, because people
Uh,
who pay people appropriately.
Can
if
you
don't
imagine
have
get
it.
$2 an hour for doing your work?
Well,
Without-
imagine being in South America and getting $2 a day.
Wouldn't be good.
Wouldn't be good.
No.
No, you don't want to do it, especially not here.
Did you ever often hear about let the market decide? Like a business that let the market decide whether stores should be open or not? I was wondering,
That's not.
maybe we should all, maybe the market, the people, we should all get together and decide we want it all for free. Our groceries for free. Is that what they're telling us? Oh, the marketplace only works for when they want it to.
It's pretty crazy.
But they can say whatever they want and the general public believes it
It's all about
because it was on
Tony.
TV.
If I'm selling buttons and you're selling buttons, and I think I'm gonna make another buck selling a button, so I'm gonna open on Sundays because Tony's not.
We're going to sell our no Sunday shopping buttons on Sunday.
And if we had any brains, and not to say that we should really work together, but if we were smart at all, we would treat each other fairly and say, you know what, when you rest, I'm gonna rest, and we'll go fight about selling buttons tomorrow instead of today, and so we can both rest. But if I think I'm gonna get more button sales, no, then I'm gonna hurt me and I'm gonna hurt you, because I'm not gonna shut down on another day when you're gonna be open. And pretty soon, I know we can buy groceries 24 hours, and I'm not, I'm gonna need to rent a car 24 hours, Tony. I'm gonna need to buy a suit 24 hours.
You're going to need Premier Dexter in his office
Well,
24/7.
What's more important? My need to, let's say, pick something. I want a new barrette for my daughter. Is it more important that I buy a new barrette, or if I have a problem, that I can speak to somebody in authority who might be responsible for my welfare? Now, you think that would be more important, but we're going to fight for our need to 24 hours, 365 days, buy a barrette. But, if I want to talk to anybody, well, I still thank God for the policeman. But if I want to talk to somebody in government, let's say, just use them, or the messenger service or postal service or anything like that then that seems to be more important.
We do agree there are certain things that have to be open.
Well, of
Like if
course.
you're having
Don't get sick tomorrow. Don't get sick tomorrow on Sunday, Tony. Don't have a of course, they're essential things. But
If you're having a heart attack, you're not going to look at your doctor and say, hey, I'll hold on till Monday.
Yeah.
You have Sunday off.
yeah.
I mean, those are common sense things.
Well, of course there are. There always have to
And we
be, too.
appreciate what they do for us, too.
Of course, and that's right, and we should be more grateful for that, because people do sacrifice for that. But most of what we talk about has so far gone from what is essential that, my goodness, I want to shop, Tony, and I want to shop at 3 o'clock, or I want to.
And we're not thinking of the consequences.
Oh, yes, because it's
Our
erosion of society, it's your work week, it's my work week, because it interrupts our family, it interrupts everything that we do. And regardless of religion, whatever you want to call it, whatever day you choose to do what you would gather together with others, and not only for that, for clubs, for everything. It's just, you know, eventually, everybody right now seems to think that Sundays is the perfect day for soccer, for example. So what happens when kiddies, no, it should be treated like every other day? Well, now we can't have our soccer tournaments on Sundays. So when are we gonna have them? You can't have them on Wednesdays if they go to school, then you should have them on Saturdays. Well, nobody wants, like, it's a vicious cycle, because it'll break down everything that we do.
Everybody's suffering.
Everybody suffers. Everybody suffers.
I know, I was on the Rick Howe show
Okay.
for an interview, and I spoke how important a common day was. I believe it's Sunday, but I would take any day. I said it would be a common day
Sure you
if
would.
everybody would, to see that they've gotten it. I would pick Sunday because it was always that day. But Rick Howe was talking with Diana Whalen on the radio about the Family Day in February, and I do support it. And
Sure.
you know,
course.
get one day
Especially
back.
in your province with the least statutory holidays.
You know, you get.
It's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just a little side comment. And maybe I stand to be corrected there too.
You know, if we can get one day back out of the 52, it would be a start. But Rick Howe always said on air that we can never go back. And I listened to Rick Howe that we should have this new Family Day, and I thought,
I'd never drive with that boy.
I thought,
never drive back.
just wait a minute now. We can go for Family Day in February, but we can't go back and get the 52 we had. I don't get that, do you?
Well, that's the opinion he has, I guess.
But
I think that's part of what the problem is with popular opinion, Tony, because they're willing to admit that, you know, when it comes to this thing with the government and all this kind of stuff, and what this whole thing is, that they really think that they don't have the power to change it. And if they just think for a moment, well, they could change this so quickly. My goodness.
See, the plebiscite was binding.
Well, yeah, I know that.
And the courts didn't strike it down, so I don't even know why we have it.
And who knows, and I'm not a lawyer and I'm not gonna argue, it just seems a little foolish to me that you do something that you know people don't want to do, and if what you're saying is true, then why would you even consider doing something that was wrong and arguably illegal?
I wrote to every MLA in the legislature, and there's not one that come forward and said, Tony, you're wrong, and here's why.
Yeah. But I wouldn't, you know, aside from the fact of not wanting to really comment that legally, because I don't know, but it just seems foolish. If you were a government and you had 10% of your population lobby you for something in the best sense of the word, you know, that really want influence on you, would certainly listen to those people. And we know that there's way more than that, but we have done some interesting things here. As far as this goes. And
Don't it strike you kind of odd that we have three parties in the legislature and not one of them come forward and said, you know, this is wrong?
Well, you know what? And this is just a private opinion here. That's all I'm going to say.
Private opinion. You're allowed to have it.
Private opinion. This is a messy subject. And none of them want to touch it because
no, exactly.
Nobody wants to touch it because they don't see that there's any way to win this, and that's the problem. They think this is a lose-lose thing, so I'm going to shut up my mouth.
I think it's winnable.
I think, well, yeah, and I know you told me that before, and you know what? Certainly it is. Certainly it is. You can, but you have to deal with it with sort of honesty and integrity, and look at the whole thing objectively, and then be willing to actually walk into the mess, you know, because that's the thing with every sort of crisis, every opportunity that's out there. There's a great opportunity to take, change always comes with some kind of, you know, however you look at it, conflict. And managing that conflict and be able to direct the outcome of it, or direct maybe even the wrong word, but, or see that it has a good outcome type thing. Well, isn't that what it's all about?
I think some of the problem today is getting like people to speak out about any issue, not just Sunday shopping.
That's right. And
because it's a hard thing to get in front of a camera, and you're living in fear.
That's right,
your
and
job.
this is a matter of stepping forward in leadership, and that's why nobody wants to walk in with change, because they're.
You can look behind you, and there's a few behind you, but never.
Yeah, that's right, and if everybody really did stand up and do what you
There would
want
be
them
change.
to do, it certainly would be. Certainly, but there's
You can work
back
for a company and give an opinion, and it's not downing them.
I know. You know what? And this is the whole thing, and I forget what movie it was. And here, I'll just reveal something of myself. It was some kid's movie, an animated movie or a computer or whatever. Movie Ants or whatever it is, when they finally decided that, wait a minute, we want the common thing, and there's how many of us, and you know what, we can do what we want to do. You know, and then start to realize, hey, you know, like the things that we're willing to do here, like you say, what a lot of time and energy, anyways,
But
waste of time. But if people actually stand up, then they can do amazing things, and anybody can stand up.
Oh, we can,
And because
exactly.
everybody, like I say, yeah, you could have, and there's enough people that are on the web and everything like that, there's quickly, a lot of people could quickly do this.
Is it a terrible thing to say, I'm against Sunday shopping?
Well, you are against Sunday shopping, so it's the truth.
No,
So we
but I
might as
mean
well
for other
say,
people to
you're
stand
not,
up.
you don't have a phobia, you don't have anything about it. No, but I'm seeing, you know, this is, in other things, people attach that word to stuff and they think, oh, they're against it, you know.
I have to
problem
thank
with
my
that.
parent for that,
You know.
because when we were fighting the plebiscite, he invited me up to the legislature
Mhm.
to speak, and all the media was there, CBC, ATV, and Global. Well, you're getting the picture. And I can tell you, this guy's stomach,
Yeah, great.
it rolled and turned over all night.
Okay.
And I had an interview with Rick Howe that afternoon, and I was on once speaking with Mark, and we had different workers. And Mark said, would you like to come up again? I said, sorry, Mark, I have an interview with Rick Howe, I gotta go. And I'll tell you, I never thought radio looked so good at the time. But I can see where it would be hard for someone to do it, but I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, and in workplaces and in even popular opinion, all this kind of stuff, people just need to learn. They don't need to be aggressive, but they just need to, why not say what you think? That's the only way you can change things, and thank goodness a few people
I'm
are.
glad I had that
Well,
experience.
yeah, and I'm, you know, and I'm glad you do it, and I hope others
I
do.
hope Mark don't get any hate mail, but.
Watch who you're quoting on here, but, yeah.
I do appreciate everything
Oh, sure, sure.
he's done, yeah, because I would've, if someone would've told me 10, 20 years ago that you're gonna be on Rick Howe and on TV speaking about Sunday shopping, I said, whoa, are you crazy? But
Well,
is what I'm trying to tell people out
Yeah,
there,
well,
it's a good thing.
yeah, it's a good thing, yeah, that's right, get
Yeah,
involved.
not everybody
Get
has to
involved.
agree with you,
And
and
you don't have to get even a big involvement, but a little bit of involvement here, and try your best. And what else can you do? Otherwise, you can sit back and say, oh, well, they just sort of told me what to do all my life.
Keep Sunday Special is doing a great thing over in the UK. Oh, they have,
Good for them.
yeah, they're getting quite a few people,
Well, and you think
Liking
we're
their
smart
page.
enough now, this has been around long enough in
and
different
they
places.
had it over there for years.
Shouldn't we learn some lessons from it? It's the same thing with a whole lot of things, including gambling, that we knew a lot of those lessons before we legalized it, and it's like we didn't learn lessons, and then it takes us a lot of studies and a lot of years and seeing all the effects and the symptoms as they come through to learn the lessons we knew in the beginning. And if we would have really looked at this about opening instead of as the way it sort of happened, but if we would have done any kind of real taking a look at this before and everything, who would have ever dreamed this was a smart idea from any other perspective other than studying it after the fact? We should be getting smarter by now in many things, and it seems like we have to make the same mistakes over and over again.
They're talking about taking holidays away, and
Well, that would be a stroke of genius too.
I mean, how long? I can remember when Sunday shopping started in Ontario, and it gradually worked its way east to Nova Scotia.
Yeah. That
And
was- that
little
was-
by little,
Yeah.
they brought it in, or they even used the excuse to open the stores on a snowstorm.
And but
Before a
these are-
snowstorm
maybe I
or
could get
after.
half a day off at Christmas, you know, and an extra lump of coal for my
Yeah.
Christmas day. Come on, you know, like if we have, you know, how many years do we have to go back? But that's only one example, because history cycles itself all the time. Anyways, we could be here all day talking about that, and I really.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah. But, yeah, let me see how this works out, Billy.
Okay, thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you for spending
Yeah,
time with
good.
us,
Yep.
and appreciate it,
Thank you.
Eric. Take care.